Chapter 21. Monster May. Mae West rode into Hollywood with a reputation as the bad girl of Broadway for plays like Sex, which got her into hot water and 8 days of jail. On arrival in 1932, she quipped, "I'm not a little girl from a little town making good in a big town. I'm a big girl from a big town making good in a little town." Paramount's move in signing Mae was a gamble that paid off. She stole the picture with a supporting role in Night After Night, and thereafter wrangled the studio bosses into allowing her to run her own show. Her first starring film, She'd Done Him Wrong, which she adapted from her own play, Diamond Lil, broke box office records for 1933. It took in $2 million in 3 months and saved the studio from bankruptcy. Variety magazine summed up the film. "Miss West in picture hats, straitjacket gowns, and with so much jewelry she looks like a Knickerbocker ice plant, sings Easy Rider, A Guy What Takes His Time, and Frankie and Johnny, all somewhat cleaned up lyrically, but Mae couldn't sing a lullaby without making it sexy. As full of laughs as an agent is of alibis, the entire production depends on the personality of the sex star, who gets across each jibe and point with a delivery that will soon be imitated. Her handling of lovers, past, present, and prospective comprises the whole picture." Mae didn't knock all Hollywood dead. A notable resister was Mary Pickford, who commented from her retreat at Pick Fair. "I passed the door of my young niece's room. She's been raised oh so carefully, and I heard her singing bits from that song from Diamond Lil. I say that song just because I'd blush to quote the title even here." Stronger disapprobation of Mae's fun-loving views on sex came spewing forth from Cardinal Mundelein of Chicago. The cardinal ordered one of his professional prigs, the Jesuit Reverend Daniel A. Lord, to pen a pamphlet, "The Motion Pictures Betray America," in which Catholic youth was urged to boycott the obnoxious pictures of Mae West. All of them would henceforth be blacklisted in Father Lord's magazine, The Queen's Work. The Catholic sodality were so gratified at the response that they decided to put their anti-sex boycott on a national level. Bernard J. Schell, auxiliary bishop of Chicago, set about organizing a pressure group, the National Legion of Decency, which was formed in October of 1933, 6 months after the release of She Done Him Wrong. The Legion heavies cited the menace Mae West represented as one of the major reasons for the necessity of their organization. Mae followed She Done Him Wrong with her most successful picture, I'm No Angel. The clampdown began with her third feature, It Ain't No Sin. When huge posters advertising It Ain't No Sin were up on Broadway, a squad of priests marched up and down in front of the ads with signs bearing this succinct message: It is. The Decent Legionnaires won a minor victory. The title was changed to Belle of the 90s. Oh yeah, that's a much better title. Yeah, right. The Paramount publicist who had been working on a zany promotions stunt was stuck with 50 parrots who had been cued to repeat, "It ain't no sin," over and over again. By this time, Father Lord had taken his busy body to Hollywood, where he went about teaching Hayes a thing or two about censorship. Lord dusted off Hayes' old list of don'ts, and with the help of a lay Catholic, Martin Quigley, wrote a new set of ridiculous restrictions under the title, A Code to Govern the Making of Motion and Talking Pictures. This monstrosity included 100 different ways to deball the movies. Hayes was handed these even stiffer moral fibers by Lord and Quigley and Joseph I. Brain was installed to enforce the code with a new weapon, the Purity Seal. A picture could not be exhibited without it. Mae's war with the super censors started in earnest with the summer of 1934, when the new guardians of America's virtue pounced on her way of handling a gangster. "Is that a gun in your pocket, or are you just glad to see me?" And admittedly, that's a great line. While It Ain't No Sin was in production, the Hayes office had stationed a watchdog on the set to oversee Mae's lines and movements. To bug this blue nose, Mae brought up a little prank. She invented an imaginary kidnapping threat and kept herself surrounded by a squad of bodybuilder bodyguards who followed her right into her luxurious dressing room between takes. While the watchdog fumed, Mae hung out a Do Not Disturb sign. Except in case of fire, of course. Despite the ever-present prude, Mae was able to give the full West treatment to such lines as, "It is better to be looked over than overlooked, and a man in the house is worth 2 in the street." Hearst got in the act in 1936 when a crack Mae made about this sacrosanct lady, Marion, provoked his ire. Singing out Klondike Annie as a target, the Hearst papers denounced Mae as a monster of lubricity and a menace to the sacred institution of the American family. He added, quote, "Is it not time Congress did something about Mae West?" End quote. A tipsy Marion could be seen hugely enjoying herself at the Klondike Annie premiere. She never could figure out what got droopy drawers in an uproar. Hearst was pissed off by a remark of May's about Marion's acting ability. Since the great man couldn't let the reason for his wrath out of the bag, his hypocritical outrage was channeled to the concupiscence of May's screen dialogue, to quips which now seem harmless fun to us, such as, "Between two evils, I always pick the one I never tried before." He also feigned umbrage at May's rendition of a mock revival meeting hymn, "It's better to give than to receive." He gave orders to ban ads for her films and all of his papers. Whatever Monster May was suggesting up there on the screen, her private life was the soul of discretion. When she did discover a dude to her liking, it was generally a boxer, a bodybuilder, or some other substantial hunk of masculinity. These types, rather than members of her own profession, were those who were admitted to the privacy of her shell-pink boudoir. The shades were drawn, and drawn again. May respected the privacy of others, and wanted her own to be respected. She stayed aloof from the social whirl of Hollywood parties and was only seen in public occasionally at a prize fight of one of her favorites with her old friend and manager, Jim Timoney. In spite of this, Hearst and the Legion doggedly goaded the Hayes office to harass her during production of Every Day's a Holiday. These quips were scissored. Quote, "I wouldn't let him touch me even with a 10-foot pole." End quote. And, quote, "I wouldn't even lift my veil for that guy." End quote. Oh yeah, that's scandalous, all right. Hearst then conspired with Breen to publish in Quigley's Motion Picture Herald a list of stars that exhibitors allegedly considered box office poison. This bogus blacklist was designed to oust in one swoop disobedient players and those who, victims of gossip or the censor's caprice, were considered undesirable. The page-long blacklist featured such difficult subjects as Katharine Hepburn and Fred Astaire, and such scarlet women as Marlene Dietrich and Mae West. The truth was that May's pictures were still doing fine, but the smear took its toll. When her contract came up for renewal in 1938, after the bedeviled Every Day's a Holiday was in the can, Paramount copped out and let the prigs have the last word, where the material bowdlerized the quality of May's later films at other studios declined. That is the end of this chapter.